Donald Trump's approval rating has imploded. Gallup does a daily tracking poll of presidential approval. They've been doing it for a very, very long time. President Trump's job approval rating hit a new low over the weekend, 40%, 55% approving rather. These results are based on a 3-day rolling average, and Trump's approval ratings have been ticking down slightly, a little bit at a time since he assumed office. You'll remember at the beginning of his presidency, he had a 45% job approval rating, up from the just pre-inauguration level of about 38, 37%. The committed Trumpists only believe information that supports Trump's amazing popularity. Trump has already said, if there's any polls that are bad about me, they're fake news. The reality, of course, is that only about 25% of the population voted for Trump. I suspect that there is quite a low floor for what Donald Trump's approval rating could ultimately be. And when Trump led in the polling, all he talked about were polls. And when the polls aren't good, we saw this during the run up to the election, and we're seeing it now with his approval rating, all of a sudden it's not an issue. Now, as a reminder, let me put up the graphic that I used a few days ago. It took Donald Trump only 8 days to get to 50% presidential disapproval. You'll remember that over 700 days went by before Ronald Reagan got to 50% disapproval, over 1,300 days for Bush 1 and 1,200 days for Bush 2. It took President Obama just under 1,000 days to get to 50% disapproval, and Bill Clinton getting to 50% disapproval for the first time after 573 days. 8 days. 8 days for Donald Trump to get to 50% disapproval. You know the most shocking thing to me about this poll, Pat? That 4 out of 10 people in the country approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing. What do you approve of?
It honestly seems rather high. And I think if Donald Trump continues to abuse his power and make all these mistakes, I think that number could be cut in half relatively soon.
Yeah, I know. I've talked for a very long time how there's a contingent of the country that will support the president no matter what. And there's a contingent of the country that will disapprove of the president no matter what. And the in-between is sort of where elections are won and lost. It's where the approval rating of a president can go up or go down. Remember, 25% of the country voted for Trump. This is a very unusual situation that we're in. And I agree with Pat that Donald Trump's approval rating could go way lower before it bottoms out. If you had to guess, will the Michael Flynn Russia-connected resignation hurt Trump's approval rating, or will it be sort of a non-factor?
No, I don't think it'll be a factor because, I mean, I think people who are willing to be swayed on whether they approve of Trump or not aren't into the weeds enough to even know who Michael Flynn is.
You think? I mean,
Yeah.
it's been headline news for the last 12 hours or so, although I agree with you that there's a big contingent which just doesn't care. Oh, Trump's connected to Russia or he's not. Michael Flynn, what does he do? Who was he anyway?
I mean, the Russian connection stuff's definitely. I mean, if that gets more exposure, I think that could hurt him significantly.
Yeah.
But Michael Flynn specifically, not so much.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I tend to agree with you. If the Russia angle is what sort of is perceived as the main story, that could have an impact. But Flynn specifically, although the general sense that it's chaos and everything's falling apart, that could hurt Donald Trump. What I want to dig into tomorrow or the next day is, has Donald Trump actually done anything tangible in the 3 weeks that he's been president? There's differing opinions about that, and we're going to dig into that in the next couple of days.